Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the build series on this channel. I'm Simmer and this is my 2015 Suzuki Gixxer 150. If you're new to this channel, I'm doing a build series on this bike and I'm giving this bike a complete makeover. So if you haven't watched the previous videos, I will link the playlist in the description below, so go ahead and watch it out. And today is a very special day, and on this special day I'm planning to complete this bike up to 90%. The only 10% that will be left is going to be some cosmetic things, so I might do it off the camera or might do it on the camera. The time will tell. And having said that, I will link the timestamps in the description below because a video might be a little bit longer, so if you want to see some specific thing, do follow that timestamp. And apart from that, let's start working on this bike. Okay, to start off with working on the bike, I'm gonna be starting from the front and find my way back to the bike. So the first thing that I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be installing a steel braided brake line on the front brake, the disc brake that is on the bike. I will tell you the reason why you should be installing a steel braided brake line on your bike. So let me first show you the old one. I have actually already installed the brake line. I just wanted to check, as you can see here, I have already installed the brake line on the system. The reason is that I wanted to check the length of the line, if it's correct or not. So I'll just show you the old one and quickly show you the differences between the old one and the new one and why you should be upgrading it. Okay, so this is the original brake line or the steel or the rubber brake line which comes standard on your bike. The reason is that why you should be replacing this over a steel braided brake line is because the rubber brake lines has a tendency to expand when you pull the lever. So when you pull the lever, all the fluid from the master cylinder goes down to the caliper at a very high, I would say, pressure, and at a very high temperature the rubber will expand, will be very flexible. It is very flexible right now as well, and at a very high temperature it will expand very quickly. So all the pressure which will be which should be going straight to the caliper will actually result in expanding the brake line, which will result in the fading brakes. So the steel braided brake line is the first thing that you should be planning to upgrade on your bike if you are planning to upgrade the braking on your bike. So now the brake line is already installed. The next thing that I'm going to be doing is bleeding the brakes. And you already might be knowing the traditional method of bleeding the brakes. I will show you a very simple and a very fast way of bleeding the brake, which is bleeding the brakes, which is known as reverse bleeding. So I'll just move down to the caliper and show you how you can do it. Okay, to start the process of reverse bleeding, the first thing that you should be doing is get a syringe like this one, or the bigger you can find, the better it will be. And firstly, I'm gonna remove the bleeder valve, the dust cap over the bleeder valve from here. And the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour the brake fluid into the syringe and push the liquid from this bleeder valve through into the system. The benefit of doing it this way is that when you put the liquid or the brake fluid from the bleeder valve or the caliper into the system, all the air which is lighter than fluid will actually travel through this pipe or the brake line into the master cylinder and will find its way out of the system, and it will basically speed up the process. So I'll just show you how you can do this. The one thing to note here is that the brake oil or the brake fluid is corrosive. So if you want to protect the paint on your bike, you should put a rag over it or something to protect the paint on your bike. Okay, so now I will put this cap onto the bleeder valve. The first thing that you should be doing is tap it and remove any air out of the system. So now I'm gonna open the bleeder valve and push the liquid. Okay, so as you just saw, as I was pouring the liquid or pushing the liquid from the bleeder valve from the bottom, the liquid was coming out at the top at this master cylinder. So that is how all the air out of the system will be gone, and you will be able to get the brakes bleeded in no time. So I'll just pull the lever and see if there's pressure. So as I can see, after only 2 or 3 pumps, the pressure is already there. So with that done, the bleeding of the brake is complete. So now I'll just move on to the carburetor. Okay, so this is the old carburetor. As you might have seen in the last video, I removed the carburetor and cleaned the carburetor. But I'm planning to replace the carburetor because of the reason the bike is not idling very well. As you might have seen in the last video, the diaphragm over here at the top is a little bit scored up. The walls are a little bit scored up, and due to that, the bike is not idling very well. Sometimes it idles at 500 rpm, and sometimes it idles at even 3000 or 4000 rpm, which is not good for the engine. So the company does not sell this diaphragm separately, so I had to buy a new carburetor. So I'm just gonna take this one out and put the new one in and tune the carburetor. I'm not making a video on tuning the carburetor because most of the bike in today's day and age are fuel injected. So if you do need a video on how to tune the carburetor, let me know in the comments down below. I will make it. Otherwise, I'll just skip all the step and put the new one in. So out with the old, in with the new. Okay, so now the new carburetor is in the bike. It was quite a task to tune the carburetor. If you want me to make a detailed video on how you can tune the carburetor, let me know in the comments down below, and I will definitely make a video on it because there's quite a lot of things that goes into tuning a carburetor. So now that's done, I'm gonna move back toward the tail section of the bike, and let me show you what I'm gonna do over there. Okay, so now we are at the rear section of the bike, the tail section of the bike. My plan here is to make a fender eliminator kit. So what is basically a fender eliminator kit? It is basically taking out the rear fender of the bike. It is as simple as that. But in this bike, it is not that simple. If I take out this piece, this is the rear fender. If I take out this piece, the frame, it bolts down to the frame. It will basically leave a gapping hole between the rear seat and the tire, and it will allow all the dust and debris out on the road to fall inside the bike, which is not what I want. So I will have to think of other way. The other way that I'm thinking, and I have researched on this and it has found to be the best solution out there, is to chop the fender from this line over here all the way around, which will basically help me to get rid of this big piece, and it will leave me with a tray kind of rear fender, which will then bolt down to the frame and act as a fender eliminator kit. So I'm just gonna take this out and chop this off. Okay, so first of all, I'm sorry. As I was cutting this down, my camera died due to low battery, and I wasn't able to record that footage. So now the update is, once you are done cutting the rear fender, you will be left with these two pieces. This is the lower section of the bike, the lower section of the rear fender, and this is the upper section. The lower section is what we're gonna get rid of. So I'll just put this aside, and this is the upper tray which I was talking about. This is the tray which is gonna bolt down to the frame and close the rear section of the bike. In addition to that, as you can see, there are few holes over here which will be left once you cut the rear fender. So to close them, what I have done is I have cut down a sheet metal similar to the size and the shape of this rear fender, and I have bolted it down to the back section of the bike. As you can see, I have used some bolts to bolt it down. What that does is it will basically close down the rear section or the rear fender, and it won't allow any debris, dust or anything to fall inside the bike. So now I'm just gonna bolt this down to the rear fender, to the frame, and close the rear section of the bike. Okay, so the rear fender is back on the bike and it is all sealed up. There is no way the dust and debris will fall inside the bike and into the air filter. So that is a win-win. And I actually test fitted the rear tail section on the bike and it looks beautiful. I'll show you what it's looking like. So now I'm just gonna push forward to put all the body panels back on the bike, and for that I'll put you guys on a time lapse. So let's do it. Okay, so the bike is all complete now. It is 80 to 90% complete. I haven't installed the front yet because there are few parts that I'm waiting on. So when they arrive, I'll complete the front end. So apart from that, rest of the bike is all complete, and I'm not going to reveal the paint in this video. I will reveal the paint in my Instagram. So do follow me on my Instagram. I will link that in the description below. And yeah, as I was saying that today is a very special day. Well, today is my birthday, so yeah, I'm really happy that I was able to put this bike back together on my birthday. So I'm really happy with the results. I think it turned out really beautiful. So yeah, having said that, I'm going to close this video right here, right now. And as always, let nothing hold you back in life, and always keep moving forward. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.